Hi, Kalli.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I'm super excited to be here.
it's going to be great.
Yeah.
So I want to start from the beginning. Take us back to your early days. What drew you into fashion and creative leadership? And how did those career experiences shape the way you approach your career today?
So I initially started in the fashion industry and spent about 12 years kind of working my way up through that corporate fashion ladder. Somebody just asked me this the other day of oh, did you always know that you wanted to be a designer or go into fashion? What kind of put you in that direction? And I was like, I don't know. It just felt natural. I remember just being like, okay, cool. I'm going to go to fashion school and that's what's going to happen. And I always was a creative person. I feel like I have also too, just a little bit of a different brain where I really feel like I'm a right brain, left brain split. So I really love creative aspects, but I also too really love organization and I love the business side of things and how things move and how you get from A to Z. And so I really started off as a designer and then worked my way up through leading teams and creative teams, as well as product development teams. And I think that also too has taught me a lot about teamwork in general and how to get, a product from just concept to getting it in motion to getting it to that end stage and actually shipping it to your customers really taught me a lot about that supply chain and just the process and how important that is to have clear communication from start to finish. And so that's really where I started. It was a very organic beginning. I had started with I went to a job fair actually, and that was where I had my first job, which was at BCBG, and worked there for about almost 4 years. And, it really was my career path. I kind of similar to you, when we were talking the other day about just your path through real estate and thinking that is the only industry, that is the path for me. That is very much where my mindset was when I was working in fashion. I believed that I was going to work my way up and become a creative director. And that was the only path. And that's really how things started in motion. That's really where I started, was a deep passion for being creative, for building things, for curating things. And I always loved being at the forefront of that, which I think has really transitioned into what I'm doing now with her workplace and the experience that I have in tech is how do we create these incredible experiences? How do we also build things from scratch and really see how you can execute clearly? That's really, I feel the foundation of where my career started.
What sparked that pivot into tech and digital growth?
So that also was completely organic.
Okay.
Yeah, very organic. And, I know so many people have very purposeful plans of I'm going to get out of this industry. I'm going to pivot into another one. That was not me. I actually had worked my way up through, again, that corporate fashion, ladder. I had worked my way up to a design director and, was leading a team and loved every single bit of it. But I think what I had realized that performance and success on the outside wasn't really in alignment with what I actually wanted to do. And it wasn't in alignment with my values. And before I stepped into tech, I actually had a mini moment of being an entrepreneur. And so I left the fashion corporate side and I started building my own brand. And through that, it actually led me to tech, which is really interesting. And so I know we don't have enough time for like that whole transition, but it really was organic and more of following my intuition and following what are my values right now. And my values at that moment were I really wanted to focus on sustainability. I also wanted to work more so with manufacturers that were in the US. And that actually helped me make the pivot into working for a B2B manufacturing platform. And, somebody actually had told me once of, if you want to make a pivot, you don't have to make the full pivot. You can think about what you're in right now and how can you make just that slight pivot. So the fact that it was manufacturing, it was product development, it was all things that like I knew very well, but the tech side of it and the SaaS side of it was very different. So where I pivoted into was Makers Row. And we were a B2B manufacturing marketplace that helps to connect designers and brands to their manufacturing partners in the US. And so I was like, this is perfect. It really aligns with what I'm trying to do for my own brand, which was intentionally all created within New York. And I started making this like shift and I realized, oh, I am so interested in tech. Like, I love the way that the team operates. I love the way that startups also too, fast moving. I liked everything about the operations of tech that I was missing in fashion. I feel like they're long drawn out processes a lot of times. You might be moving quickly, but sometimes it's not as innovative as it could be. And so that is really how I started transitioning. And then I just made the full transition when the CEO asked me to become a co-founder of the second sister company that he wanted to build. And that was True Tech. And so it kind of just really happened from following my values.
That takes a lot of confidence and courage to make those transitions and pivots, especially when throughout your career, you've kind of created these opportunities organically.
Yeah.
So how did you have that confidence to make those moves?
Well, I would say one, I was in my late 20s and I feel like when you're in your 20s, especially your late 20s, I still had that like, I wasn't really scared of anything. Like I can do anything. Like there's no way that this won't work. Like that was just my mentality. And so I think also too, that is a part of my personality is that I don't look at the negative things that could happen. I only look at the positive things. And that has kind of like helped me lean into confidence more so.
As you're moving across industries, what are some skill sets and like strengths that you're taking with you along the way?
Yeah.
And how did you identify those within yourself too?
Yeah. It definitely takes some time too when you're making transitions to understand how they're connected and how can I utilize the experience and my past experience to really help me build where I'm going and my future. And so I think what I learned through working in fashion to trying things out as an entrepreneur to making that pivot into tech to also starting to work with her workplace, it's more so about not abandoning the past and not starting from scratch. It's moving forward with your toolbox that you've built and how can you connect the pieces. So as far as skill set goes, I talked a little bit about I've always been a builder, curator. Like I'm very interested in the process of how things are built. And I also too am super people focused. So those are things that I had built that foundation from working in fashion. I was always very concerned about the customer at the end of the day. And I think where people can get caught up a lot of times is designing for themselves and not designing for the customer in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that I have taken with me through all of my different transitions is it's about the customer and knowing the customer and relating to them and making sure that you're serving them, not yourself. And that I would say is the biggest skill set and also learnings that I've learned. The second thing also too that I would say is a skill set that I've brought with me is the adaptability. I know that's a little bit more of a soft skill, but when you work in fashion, you do have to be highly adaptable. It's a very high pressure environment. And somebody could tell you, we don't want this in the collection anymore. You've worked on it for how long and you've put your, blood, sweat, and tears into it. And then just with one decision, it's gone.
Wow.
And so you have to feel comfortable with, okay, let it go, you know, and let's move on to the next thing and let's make it even better. So that's something that I bring with me throughout the experience.
And it's so true too, being adaptable, working in a startup environment.
Yes.
So I'm sure it was those experiences that helped you evolve and adapt well in those types of environments too.
Yeah. And you don't really realize it sometimes. And I think too, for those that are looking to make a pivot or a transition it's also too really good to kind of step back a little bit.
Yeah.
And have even just the tiniest break to be able to see clearly of what you bring to the table and how those skills are transferable, that they're in your toolbox. You don't have to abandon them.
Yeah.
You can make them fit into the story.
Yeah. So on that note of stepping back, you did take some time away from your work. And I'm excited to dig in more and learn more from you about this because I know we've talked about it, but I want to learn more about what led you to that decision and what was that time like?
Well, so as so many things, a lot of us are scared to move quickly into new things and also to the unknown. So taking that step back actually was a decision in the making. It wasn't something that I decided on the fly or out of emotion. I had been kind of building up over probably about a 2-year period of very similar to like you kind of taking that step into her workplace and taking that time of being like, I know I want to build something, but I'm not ready to step out of it. And that was very much where I was at in my career of I've built some things. I'm not ready to leave it yet, but I know that I need to be able to stop and pause to be able to move myself forward, to be able to see clearly. I had too many distractions. I also too feel like sometimes when you're in it so deep with the company, it's really hard to see yourself outside of it.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was so important to take that step back. And when I decided to do it, I actually did it on International Women's Day of 2023. So that was like my gift to myself.
Yeah.
And, it was just like, this is the moment. Like, this is the moment to step back. I had kind of prepared, over 6 months of like, I'm going to make this change soon. And with the emotional support also of my family as well as my husband. Like, I feel like, we talked a lot about this, a lot of like having people who are in your corner and like ready to support you. And I feel like I had all the support in the world from specifically my husband, who was like, you need this, like, take it. You got to take it. You got to like take this time to step back. And it was actually a very challenging time. It wasn't like, yes, there was a lot of like movement happening. There was like a lot of focusing on my wellness and like meditating, like getting clear on things. But it also too was incredibly challenging because when you have to take time to sit with yourself and be still, it shows you a lot of where you need to grow. And so taking that step back helped me to get more clear on what was it that I really wanted. And for me, that led to me really digging into what my values were at that time, the type of life that I wanted to create, and also to the impact that I wanted to have. And so I had 3 non-negotiables when I went through that time of, okay, when I get back out there, I took about 7 months off, which I thought it was going to be maybe longer than that. But I was like, I'm ready to get back out there. Like, I feel excited to start rolling with things again. And when I did decide like, hey, I'm ready to get back out there, I have 3 non-negotiables. I want to work with a highly competent female founder who is values driven. I want to join a mission driven company that is supporting women. And I want to drive growth through community and inclusion. And just kept those things in my mind as I was considering that next step. So yeah, that's like a little bit, there's a lot of things that happen when you take that time. And it's so important to do if you're able to. And if you're still working inside of an organization and you're feeling burnt out and you're trying to figure out what those next steps are, try to take a vacation by yourself, try to get away, try to spend all of the time you can with yourself and let go of those outside distractions so that you can see more clearly.
I love that. And you're exactly right. It's so important to just take some time for yourself, dig into what are those values of mine?
Yeah.
And how do those values show up in the organization that I'm working with, the people that I'm surrounding myself by, the things that I'm involved in, and how do I move forward with those values and create those boundaries and non-negotiables. So I love that you did that and you said, I'm only going to work with these types of people and be focused on this specific type of work.
Yeah. It helps to get focused and obviously, too, I had other things on the list, but I'm like, these are the top 3. Like, if I can just get these 3 things into what that next role looks like for me, everything else is like a nice to have.
Yeah.
And I also, too, had other opportunities come my way. And every time that I met with somebody, and of course, you get excited about the new opportunities and the potential, and also too, life is like, hey, you gotta move on this. Like, you gotta get things moving again. And every time that I did meet with somebody, I could feel that misalignment already from the first conversation.
Wow.
And it was hard too, I think, for, I speak to friends or, like family and like, oh, I had this thing, but like, it just didn't feel right. And like, oh, like, could you make it right? And at the end of the day, no. Like, I've worked so hard over these past 7 months to really dig into what I want. And I'm not going to go for just the first thing. I'm going to go for what is in alignment with those non-negotiables.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that
it was her workplace.
Yeah. I'm glad that it led you to us.
It did.
I want to hear more about your first experience with her workplace and what do you remember about that?
Yeah. So I actually remember it like it was yesterday because I was getting ready to get back out there and I got COVID. I remember it was September. I got COVID. It was really bad. It was my first time that I had it too, 3 years after, the pandemic had been going. And I was so sick for 2 weeks. Like, it was awful. And the day that I felt better, I was like, that's it. Like, I am ready. Like, if I wasn't ready before, I'm ready now to like really get back out there. I need to start building my network. I need to start rebuilding my network because everybody that I had known and my network was all really in fashion.
Yeah.
And so that wasn't going to take me to where I needed to go next. And so I remember being like, you know what? I booked myself I was living 2.5 hours, still living 2.5 hours out of the city on the North Fork of Long Island. We moved out there during the pandemic. And I said, you know what? I need to go into the city. I need to just go. I'm going to meet with some people, and I need that time by myself. So I went in. Of course, too, this was after I was all better. And, while I was on the Hampton Jitney on the way into the city, I was online and I'm like searching for different events maybe that are going on. New York Tech Week was coming up. So I was like, maybe there are some things that I could do here. My goal at that time was I thought I was going to get into women's health tech. That was what was on my eye. And so her workplace was actually hosting a New York Tech Week event, and it was for women's health tech. And I remember being like, oh, this is really interesting. Like, I'm going to sign up for this one. And then I was like, wait, what is her workplace? Like, I have to check this out. So I went to the website and I was like, see, I'm like so excited talking about this because it was just like such one of those serendipitous moments that you can't plan for these things to happen.
Yeah.
Like your next path is going to happen when you align your values and when you take the chance.
Mm-hmm.
Like I ended up not having any meetings with people that day, but I said, you know what? I'm going to go in the city. I'm going to make something happen today. I don't know what it is, but that's what I'm going to do. So that was when we were starting off as a co-working space. And so I booked my day pass and I went in, I applied for membership like right away because it was everything that I was looking for.
Yeah.
And so I remember walking in and you were there and you came up to me, and I still remember what you were wearing too. You were wearing like this brown cardigan. And I remember being like, oh, love the cardigan because I'm a sweater girl. And, we just started chatting and, you were telling me that this is really new and that you were a solo founder. And I was so impressed by all the things that you had done in just such a short amount of time. I was like, wow, this person's really taken action. Like she's moving. Like
took action that summer.
Yes. Like I was like, this is incredible. And just had a really good experience that day. And I like loved meeting you. And I remember on my way home from there, like from on the bus and thinking like, maybe I should reach out to her and just see if like, you're open for a chat. Like I'd love to be involved and maybe help. So that's really where it all started.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I'll say too is when I then became a member and you and I were just doing, some like 1 to 2 hour strategy sessions, maybe every week or every few weeks. So we were just kind of getting to know each other. And I came to one of our virtual networking sessions and I felt so seen. It was a large group of all women, of course, because it was for her workplace. And the coolest thing is that everybody was so different industries, different backgrounds, some different experience levels, but yet the values were very much aligned with everybody. We were all kind of in this state of transition, whether it was early career or that like mid-level career. And I could tell that like everybody was looking for the same thing, and it was connection. And to me, I was like, this is what I need. Like, this is what I need to rebuild my confidence to really push my career forward. Mm-hmm. And it had a huge part in that, not just working with you, but actually being a member as well.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that side of it, of being able to experience it for yourself as a member.
Yes.
And then now working internally to help other members feel that way.
Yes. Yes. It was just like an immediate. And I remember all the people that were there. It was just such a clear memory for me.
Yeah.
And I thought, I got to see what this is. Like, this is actually out of the plan that I was thinking, but I got to see what this is. Mm-hmm. And I think that led me to where can I support the mission, you know? And we just started digging in deeper, and now we're here.
Yeah.
Recording this episode.
2 years later.
Yes. I know. I would have never thought.
Yeah.
But it just felt really natural.
Yeah. I was going to ask you a little bit further about how did you know that what I was building wasn't just like, oh, this is exciting. It's like a new thing.
Yeah.
But it was something that was going to have so much impact.
Yeah.
Because that was the very early
It was super
stages.
early.
Like we had just launched.
Just launched the membership.
Yeah.
Like literally, I think maybe 2 weeks before
Yeah.
we met on that day. There's a few things that I look at specifically because one of my non-negotiables was to work alongside a female founder. And I really wanted to get to know a founder that was female, that was leading on her own terms. And I saw you doing that. And I saw also the very thoughtful but quick decision making and just the way that you worked. That, number one, had given me more confidence in you. And I think it's so important that you have confidence in the leader of the organization, that they are going to be the person to help lead the charge and push things forward, that you're a part of that mission, but they're really the start of it. And so I could see that this wasn't just, and I remember like we'd get so pissed off when people would be like, oh, this is just a passion project. And you would tell me that. And I would get mad for you because I'm like, no, this is not a passion project. There's so much more here.
Yeah.
And I actually could see from those first initial, introductions to working with you and being a member that this wasn't just something that was going to be in New York. It wasn't just something that was going to be a co-working space.
Right.
Like there was real soul there and there was real opportunity to grow it and make a bigger impact. And I believed in it and I still believe in it.
Yeah.
But I think really it does started with you. Like, and that was something too that I learned over time is when you have a CEO who you lose confidence in, it really does shift everything in the organization. And I had so much confidence in you, which also gave me confidence to be able to dig in deeper.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's really admirable. That makes me feel good to hear that because I will say I was like a crazy person during that time. Like I really had no idea what I was doing. I just was like, I've got to just get something out there and try to keep the momentum going.
Yes.
And so that's really cool to hear your perspective.
Yeah. And I could see you following your gut. Like and I too, again, I was trying to rebuild some of that confidence.
Yeah.
And so seeing you taking that ownership and following your gut, and that helped to give me the opportunity to follow mine.
Yeah.
The mission of her workplace has helped me hone into like where I'm supposed to be too. So I really believe in that.
So I want to talk about how your role at her workplace has continued to grow and evolve. And what have you been the most proud of so far?
Well, yes, it has evolved a lot and in all of the best ways possible. And, I think too, when you and I first started working together, obviously like startup, like we're just trying things out and, we're testing and learning and we're stopping things and we're moving on things. And there are moments where you're like, okay, I could do it all. Like the same, like you could do every single piece of the business, but would I be the best person to do every part of the business?
Yeah.
And you and I had our mentor sessions. So for anybody who doesn't know it, Marilyn was my mentor. Like when I stepped into her workplace, I was like, I would like for us, like part of the agreement was I would like for you to become my mentor, and we'll have these weekly meetings. And so that's when we really got to know each other on like, and I think too, like you got to know the things that really light me up through those conversations. And you really helped me shift and go towards what gives me energy.
Yes.
And to get rid of the things that drain my energy.
Yeah.
And that just gave me so much more like excitement about what we were doing, because I was honing into my skill set, the things that I really loved, and even the things that maybe I didn't have as much experience in, but they were lighting me up, is that you gave me that opportunity to go for it and try it and do it and learn as I go.
Yeah.
And so the role has evolved so much, have always been focused on the growth. And I think too, the digital growth is one of the things that I'm so excited about and passionate about, because we can make such a bigger impact.
Yeah.
And so I would say some of the things that, we've done and the things that I've been a part of, that I've led, are really rebuilding the platform and kind of being that person who's looking at, the experience of the member, and also too, being able to say, what could this be at the end of the day? Like not limiting ourselves to what we had, but looking at the possibilities of where it could grow to and how it could support our members differently than what was available out there. So that's something that I've been really excited about. I also too, have been a part of launching our coaching program and being able to really see how we could support women in their careers, whether they're, pivoting or looking for a promotion within their organization, and being able to have access to coaches that have already been vetted, but also too that are offering their services to our members that are accessible. And all of that has been really exciting. But so many things. I mean, everything is exciting.
Yeah.
It's all exciting. Like I'm trying to think about, sometimes it's hard to be like, oh yeah, what are all the things that we've done together? Because there's been so many things.
There's been so much.
Yeah, like from launching and expanding into new cities. This time last year, we were like launching into LA, San Francisco, New York, more in New York, and then also Chicago and Boston. And again, too, is just being able to really grow our footprint, both digitally and in person.
Yeah, I want to ask you a little bit further about like, what are some things that you've learned about yourself within the past 2 years? Because working with a startup, you know this. You came from having this experience and being a co-founder. So like, what have you learned the past 2 years? And what has the experience been like for you?
Yeah. So everything that I had learned from my previous role as a co-founder, there are two things. One is that I don't have to be good at everything. I had this mentality that in order for me to succeed, I had to be good at everything and be an expert in everything, which, yes, having that mentality, because I'm very curious and because I love digging in and learning everything I can about a specific area, has been able to open up like the scope of what I'm able to do. But I think when I came to terms of you don't have to be good at everything, you can not be so great at certain things or not like to do certain things, and that doesn't make you not capable or competent. I think I had that mentality coming off from my previous experience and then diving into this. The other thing too that I would say is I felt like I had learned so much about being in leadership that I kind of stepped back into more of an independent contributor role because of the stage that we were at. You and I were really the ones just plugging away and,
doing all the admin work,
doing it all.
Still doing a lot.
Still doing it. And I think what I learned was really that it's helped me open up to what it's like to be back into that role and how to help people move forward better. And I think I've learned a lot of that from you also is I really wanted a mentor and a woman who was a leader. Like I really wanted that relationship again because I'd kind of forgotten what it was like to be the person who's being led rather than be the person who's leading.
Yeah.
And honestly, being able to do that actually opened up my eyes to different ways that I work now and also to different ways that I can support people in helping them grow. So I think kind of being in that space has been really important for like things that I've learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of growth, so you have a really strong and deep belief in community-led growth. What does that look like in practice?
Yeah. So I know community-led growth, like that can be such a buzzword. And for me, it's not just about community and like getting people together. And yes, it's so important for people to have that sense of community. But more so when I look at community growth is it's all about the people that are your customers that are helping you build what they need. And so it's so important to me to have those regular feedback loops of being able to make sure that everybody has a voice and understanding and getting to the root cause of what their pain point is, getting to the root cause of how can I help you become more involved in this to want to also drive this forward with us.
Yeah.
I want people to feel that sense of belonging. And to me, that's more important than, having, a big campaign or, kind of showing like, oh, we've got all these people together. Like we're actually really building with our members and we're building with them in mind. And I think that is really the foundation of community-led growth is making it the best experience for them because they've helped build it.
Yeah.
And also too, that helps to grow. Like that builds community. That really builds those growth loops also. So to me, that's the most important thing is like listening to your customers. And again, is getting rid of what you want to do and getting more close to what they need.
That resonates so much and probably why we work so well together. And it's been such a great fit for you at her workplace because that's been what we have believed in since the very beginning.
Yes. Yep.
Is ensuring that every single customer of ours feels seen, heard, and valued.
Yep. It's number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's no longer, it's never been about us.
Yeah.
It's about us as a whole.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%. Yep. And again, it goes back to like leadership, right?
Yeah.
And that I think you are also really good at and have taught me of like, hey, I can make mistakes. We can make mistakes. At the end of the day, the customer is who's important here.
Yes.
And remembering that in everything that you do.
So I want to talk about getting to scalability.
Yeah.
How do you maintain those touch points with customers, ensuring that you are meeting their needs and that they do feel seen and heard while you're trying to get to certain areas of growth and scale a business?
Yeah. I think it does just go back to your customers, number one. And maybe it doesn't look the same as it does when you're just starting and, you have 100 customers and like everybody can be personally introduced to you and like you can welcome them and all of those things, but being able to build out also different loops for feedback, different ways of being able to bring people into the process. I think it just goes back to that of them feeling heard. And I think something that, we do is like, how can we help our members have a voice here? Like, Our members are a part of our panels. Our members are a part of, hosting events. Like our members are a part of being leaders and mentors in the community. Like we're really giving them that voice. And to me, it's the more that we can give them that autonomy and utilize technology to have them be a part of this network on their own. That's what's important. So I think, we're doing a lot of, integrating AI and of course too, how do you maintain human connection there? It's all about utilizing the technology to bring people together, to help them have better relationships, to have them help give people opportunities and find opportunities and growth. And so I think it's just really scalability is a balance between the technology and the people and how to use the technology to support the people and scale it. And we also too, we still do these, group sessions with our coaches. We have member interviews that we talk to members on the actual call and hear from them one-on-one. And I think that's something that can always be continued at any level. That's also too a reason why I really believe in her workplace is because it can scale and also still have that soul to it and still have that connection.
So we have a lot going on.
Yes.
At her workplace.
Every day is a new day.
I'm curious to learn what you're most excited about as we enter this next phase and chapter without spilling the tea.
Without spilling the tea, we have some really exciting things coming up in the fall. And I'm very excited to see what those type of initiatives do to, again, bring more connection into the network and being able to really see, again, how technology and partnerships can really bring people together. I think something that I am personally excited about in my work is working with corporate partners. And that's something that I feel like is such a need for the women in our organization is to feel supported by their organization. And so that really excites me because I feel like we are going to have the opportunity to have even more reach and really support those that are working inside of an organization and how they can feel heard there and how we can support that. So that really gets me excited. And there's, without spilling the tea, there are some really fun things that are coming up. I mean, this podcast is so
it's a big step for us.
It's a big step. Everything is exciting at her workplace. And I say that with so much genuine heart and enthusiasm, everything, even the bad days are good days because we're learning. Yeah. Getting closer to that mission goal.
Yes. Because that is our ultimate vision is to be this leader.
Yes.
In being the go-to career resources platform for women.
Yes.
And to help reshape workplaces for women. To ensure that not only are they supporting each other, but they feel supported.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say just one thing about whenever I was in fashion, I worked at some really great companies. And I feel like if I would have had something like her workplace, I would have also stayed longer in certain roles. But where I kind of felt like, you hit that ceiling or you're in this box and you've outgrown it. And if I would have had more support, maybe more of a network, more of mentorship, more of ways to navigate certain situations, I feel like I would have stayed and I would have continued growing further there. So that's just something interesting to look at, on the other side of it.
Yeah. I love that. So we do close every episode with 3 questions to really just hear how our guests are leading on their own terms. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. What's one thing that you do each day to stay grounded?
The one thing that I do each day to stay grounded is, this is a tough one because it's between movement and eating. I would say it is so important for me to eat breakfast every day. And it doesn't happen every day, but just doing that one thing helps me start my day of like, I am taking care of myself. I'm nourishing my body and I'm fueling myself to be able to have energy. Like that is so important to me that I'm carving out breaks to eat. And breakfast is like the most important meal. So that is something that makes me feel really grounded and being able to move my body.
Yeah.
As soon as I wake up, I do it.
You're like always on it.
I think it's just like that commitment to yourself. I also know that like without it, I'm not as great of a person or a team member. Like it just makes me a better individual altogether. So I got to get it in.
What's something you used to think was necessary for success, but you don't anymore?
Something that I have changed for sure is this idea of perfectionism versus excellence. And that perfectionism does not mean that you care more or that you're more driven. It means that you're acting out of fear. And for me, there was a lot of perfectionism that would happen out of fear that I would do something wrong or that I would be seen as not knowing what I was doing.
Yeah.
And when I got rid of that, and of course, too, sometimes it pops back in there. I mean, we've had conversation. I'm like, no, like I thought I got rid of that, but here it is. It's like back. I think it's just really important for me to understand that there is a difference between enthusiasm and striving for excellence and perfection and acting out of fear.
Yeah.
And I think so many women can get stuck in that cycle.
And then lastly, one of my favorites, what does building a career on your own terms mean to you?
Building a career on my own terms means, how does it feel for me at the end of the day? What impact am I making for myself? And how am I able to drive that impact forward? And I think that's really where you and I align, is that we are very impact driven. And I feel like building this career that focuses on impact helps me own my career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, great. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your story and for being with us at her workplace.
Of course.
It's been quite the journey.
Yes.
But I'm excited for where we're going.
Yeah. It's just getting started.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.